Today we're back at the Coffs Historical Cemetery. I'm cleaning the graves of Barbara and Vic Allen. Barbara was the second child and first daughter of Sam and Alice Anderson, who we've looked at before. Victor Elias Allen was her husband. He was known as Vic, and he was 3 years older than Barbara. They were married at a parents' home in Bellawongarah on the South Coast of New South Wales in 1908. Their first child, Nina, was born in 1909, and a son, Alexander, was born 2 years later. Shortly after that, they were to follow the rest of Barbara's family to the north coast of New South Wales. Eventually, Vic's family would also make the journey north. Shortly after arriving on the north coast, their daughter Alice was born in 1913 in Bonville, and they didn't stop moving north there because their next son, Charles, was born 2 years later in Queensland. Vic was listed on the electoral rolls as a farmer in Thagoona, just west of Ipswich. In 1923, Vic submitted an application to reside elsewhere, which may have related to him owning a farm on the north coast but residing in Queensland. By the 1930s, Vic and Barb had moved back to the Coffs area with their family of 4 children. Vic was very active in the local community. He was appointed to the Board of Trustees of the Moonee Creek Reserve and the Banana Marketing Board as a producer representative. Being passionate, he did seem to have the odd run-in with others. There was an argument in a pub, followed by some trouble between him and another grower over a banana plantation, which ended up in court. The police magistrate said that it appeared to be an entirely unprovoked offence, but that it was a waste of good beer. In 1946, Barbara and Vic had a very sad loss with the death of their daughter Alice at the age of 33. Alice had been unwell with high blood pressure, and her cause of death was cerebral hemorrhage or stroke. She passed away in Port Macquarie and left her husband and a surviving son aged 11. Barbara passed away in January 1966 at the age of 78, and Vic was to pass away a little under 2 years later, aged 83. They had 3 surviving children, and they're buried in the Presbyterian section of the Coffs Harbour Cemetery, directly adjacent to Barbara's parents and her sister and brother-in-law Alice and Frank Paul. Vic's father, Elias, was buried in the same plot, having passed away in 1923, and there is a plaque for Vic's mother as well, although she's buried in Waverley Cemetery in Sydney's eastern suburbs, according to cemetery records, although the plaque indicates she's buried in Adelaide.